Hello, my preschoolers. I have missed you guys so much. Welcome to my living room. We're decorated for Easter. I'm going to be reading stories to you. The first book we're going to read is called The Large and Growly Bear. And I'm going to stand up so you can see it. Once there was a large and growly bear. And one spring morning, he woke up with nothing to do. I know, said the large and growly bear. I will find someone to frighten. That is just what a large and growly bear needs. So the large and growly bear went growling and prowling and scowling, looking for someone to frighten. And what did he see? He saw the bluebirds. The bluebirds were busy, for it was spring. They were flying here and flying there, pulling a worm up here and hurrying home to feed their babies. I can frighten bluebirds, said the large and growly bear. So he took a breath, and it came out, grrr. Shh, said the bluebirds. You will wake up the babies. I am frightening you. Not now, said the bluebirds. We are too busy flying here and pulling up a worm there and hurrying home to our babies. Find someone else to frighten. Well, I never, said the large and growly bear to himself. There must be someone I can frighten. So the large and growly bear went growling and prowling and scowling, looking for someone to frighten. And what did he see? He saw rabbits. The rabbits were happy, for it was spring. They were jumping here and hopping there and bouncing like balls with pink ears. I can frighten rabbits, said the large and growly bear. So he took a big breath, and it came out, grrr. Shh, said the rabbits. You will mix us up. We are counting and bouncing. But I mean it, said the large and growly bear. I am frightening you. Do you think they're scared? Not now, said the rabbits. We are too busy jumping here and hopping there and bouncing like balls with pink ears. Find someone else to frighten. Well, I really never, said the large and growly bear to himself. There must be someone I can frighten. So the large and growly bear went growling and prowling and scowling, looking for someone to frighten. And what did he see? He saw moles. They were little and soft as silk, for it was spring. They were digging dirt here and moving dirt there and making tunnels halfway to China. Look at those tunnels. I can frighten the moles, said the large and growly bear. So he took a great breath, and it came out, grrr. Shh, said the moles. You will shake the tunnels to China. But I mean it, said the large and growly bear. I am frightening you. Not now, said the moles. We are too busy digging dirt here and moving dirt there and making tunnels halfway to China. Find someone else to frighten. Someone scribbled on my page, huh? Well, I really never, said the large and growly bear. A large and growly bear must have someone to frighten. He just must. The large and growly bear was tired and cross and very growly. But all at once he had an idea. Fish are never too busy to be frightened, said the large and growly bear. I will go to the shining silver river. I will find some little fish, and I will frighten them half to death. The large and growly bear walked softly, softly, so no one could hear. The large and growly bear walked slowly, slowly. He held all his breath for an enormous grrr. At last, the large and growly bear came to the shining silver river. The large and growly bear still held his breath for an enormous grrr. Then the large and growly bear looked into the shining silver river. He did not see the little fish. He saw a very large and growly bear. Look, he sees his reflection in the water. Oh, my paws and claws, cried the large and growly bear. Suddenly he felt very small. He didn't feel growly, but he did feel like hurrying. Hurry, he cried. Hurry away from the large and growly bear. So he hurried. Fly, he shouted to the bluebirds. Hop, hop, he shouted to the rabbits. Dig, he shouted to the moles. The bluebirds and the rabbits and the moles laughed. They knew the shining silver river and the tricks it played. Did you find someone to frighten, they called. Yes, said the large and growly bear. Ho! Called the bluebirds and the rabbits and the moles. The large and growly bear poked his nose out of his door. He cried in a small and not growly voice. Me! He scared himself, the funny bear. The next book we're going to read is called Raccoons. Did you know that young raccoons play together the way you and your friends do? These cubs are chasing each other on a dock. Now one is hanging upside down and touching the water with its nose. Can you see that? Aww. There he is. Cute little raccoon. Raccoons live in forests and in wet places and in cities. They even live on grasslands and on islands. Are raccoons living near you? Those little raccoons. Aw, look at him. It's a baby. What's he doing? Let's see. A young raccoon peeks from a hole in a tree. The hole makes a safe place for its den or home. Raccoons use large bird houses for dens too. They are smart, curious animals. They spend a lot of time exploring. There he is. They're in a birdhouse, aren't they? Oh my. Look at the tiny babies, you guys. There's the mommy nursing her babies. Should we get up real close so you can see them? They're not very hairy, are they? Aww. Does she love her babies? Look at that. That is so sweet. Have you ever seen a raccoons nursing? Have you ever seen baby raccoons like that? I haven't. In the spring, a mother raccoon has babies. Several fuzzy little cubs, smaller than your hand, are born in the den. Like all baby mammals, they drink their mother's milk. At first, they just eat and sleep. Their mother takes care of them. Later, she will scamper and play and learn how to take care, and they will learn to take care of themselves. Aww. so sweet and tiny. Very gently, the mother raccoon carries her cub in her mouth. When the cub is about 2 months old, it will begin following its mother as she explores. Cubs learn by watching their mother, what she does, then copying her. If she digs in the river mud looking for food, they will dig too. Look, are they digging in the mud? Climbing is important for those raccoons to learn how to do. It will spend a lot of time in its life up in the trees. Sharp claws help the cub hang on tight to tree bark. With a little practice, the cub will become a good climber. When a raccoon, look, he's in the tree. That's so cute. He's sleeping. And he's in the, look, he's climbing. When a raccoon goes looking for food, it may stop to take a snooze. A tree branch or a hole under rocks is a good place for a nap. Raccoons have special ways of climbing down trees. Sometimes they turn their feet almost backward and climb down head first. What is it doing? Eating grapes? They like eggs and grapes. Big juicy grapes make a good meal for a raccoon. Raccoons eat all kinds of food. They nibble on corn from farmers' fields and on nuts they find in the woods. In the fall, raccoons like to eat a lot and grow fast. Food may be hard to find in the winter. This one has caught a little fish for its dinner. Can you see him? He's eating a fishy. It might snack on eggs in a duck's nest too. See the duck's nest? Let's look up real close. There's little eggs in there, see? And the raccoon eats the eggs. Look at the raccoon's long fingers. See its fingerprints? And they like to eat fish in the water and look for snails. They like to play with their food. Aww, look at him. Could you catch a fish with your hands? A raccoon can. Its hands feel things easily in the water and can quickly grab a fish. Grab the fishy in the water. Circling in the snow. A fox and a raccoon growl at each other. The raccoon lowers its head and lifts its back. This makes it look bigger than it really is. A snarling cougar cannot quite reach the raccoon. Raccoons are not fast runners, but they can quickly climb a tree when enemies chase them. Cougars and other wild cats and coyotes are enemies of the raccoons. See that cougar? He can't get him. He's going to hide up there. Clang, bang! What are they doing? Are they in the garbage? A noise has waked you up. Raccoons tipped over your trash can looking for things to eat. Not many wild animals can live in cities. Raccoons can because they eat so many different things, even garbage. They search for food after dark when people are indoors. Raccoons can see well at night. Their eyes seem to glow if you shine a light on them. Look at its eyes. Are they glowing? Raccoons like to hide in chimneys. There he is inside it. And they like to go to the bird feeders and eat the left out bird food. In a neighborhood, what, did they catch a raccoon? They saved him and they're going to turn him back out into the wild. Some people leave pet food out for raccoons to eat, but that is not a really good idea. Raccoons are wild animals, not pets. They know how to find food for themselves. So you don't feed the raccoons, guys. Look carefully at these animals. What is that? Are they raccoons? No. The animal in the tree is called a coati. It lives in forests in Mexico and South America. The other animal lives in parts of our own country. It is called a ringtail. What is that? Can you see why? Do you see some ways that these animals look like raccoons? Scientists say that they belong to the same family. And there he is, hiding in the tree. The next book we're going to read is called Bears in the Night. In bed. And in the window it says, "Whoo." Out of bed. We're getting out. Out of bed to the window. At the window. They want to see what's out there, don't they? Out the window. There they go. Out the window, down a tree. Out the window, down the tree, over the wall. Over the wall, under the bridge, around the lake. Under the bridge, around the lake, between the rocks. Through the woods. Out the window, down the tree, over the wall, under the bridge, around the lake, between the rocks, and through the woods. Up Spook Hill. What's up there? I see it. Whoo! They didn't like that. They got scared. What are they going to do? Oh, no. Down Spook Hill, through the woods, between the rocks, around the lake, under the bridge, over the wall, and up the tree. In the window. Go, go, go. Back in bed. Whoo. Safe at last. Aw, and there they are. In their nice treehouse. We have one more book called The Sleep Book by Dr. Seuss. The news just came in from the county of Keck that a very small bug by the name of Van Vleck is yawning so wide you can look down his neck. This may not seem very important, I know, but it is. So I'm bothering telling you so. A yawn is quite catching, you see, like a cough. It just takes one yawn to start other yawns off. Now the news has come in that some friends of Van Vleck's are yawning so wide you can look down their necks. At this moment, right now, under 7 more noses, great yawns are in blossom. They're blooming like roses. The yawn of that one little bug is still spreading. According to latest reports, it is heading across the wide fields through the sleepy night air. Across the whole country toward every which where. And people are gradually starting to say, I feel rather drowsy. I've had quite a day. Are they sleepy? Sleepy and drowsy, that means the same thing. What are they doing? Creatures are starting to think about rest. 2 biffer birds are now building their nest. They do it each night, and quite often I wonder how they do this big job without making a blunder. But that is their problem, not yours and not mine. The point is, they're going to bed, and that's fine. Sleep thoughts are spreading throughout the whole land. The time for night brushing of teeth is at hand. Up at Kirkheimer Falls, where the great river rushes and crashes down crags in great gargling gushes, the Herkheimer sisters are using their brushes. Those falls are just grand for toothbrushing beneath, if you happen to be up that way with your teeth. The news just came in from the Castle of Krupp that the lights are all out and the drawbridge is up. And the old drawbridge drawer just said with a yawn, my drawbridge is drawn. And it's going to stay drawn till the milkman delivers the milk about dawn. I'm going to bed now, so nobody better come round with a special delivery letter. He's sleepy. The number of sleepers is steadily growing. Bed is where more and more people are going. In Culpeper Springs and the Stiltwalkers' Hall, the Stiltwalker stilts are all stacked on the wall. The Stiltwalker walkers have called it a day. They're all tuckered out and they're snoozing away. This is very big news. It's important to know, and that is why I'm bothering telling you so. Way out in the west, in the town of Merced, the Hinklehorn Honking Club just went to bed. Every horn has been quietly hung on a hook for the night in its own private Hinklehorn nook. All this long, happy day, they've been honking about, and the Hinklehorn honkers have honked themselves out. But they'll wake up quite fresh in the morning, and then they'll start right in Hinklehorn honking again. Everywhere creatures are falling asleep. The collapsible Frank just collapsed in a heap. And by adding the Frank to the others before, I am able to give you the Who's Asleep score. Right now, 44,404 creatures are happily, deeply in slumber. I think you will agree that's a whopping fine number. Counting up sleepers, just how do we do it? It's really quite simple. There's nothing much to it. We find out how many, we learn the amount by an audio-teleo count. On a mountain halfway between Reno and Rome, we have a machine in a plexiglass dome which listens and looks into everyone's home. And whenever it sees a new sleeper go flop, it jiggles and lets a new biggle ball drop. Our chap counts these balls as they plug in a cup. And that's how we know who is down and who's up. Do you talk in your sleep? It's a wonderful sport. And I have some news of this sport to report. The world champion sleep talkers Joe and Mo Redzoff have just gone to sleep and they're talking their heads off. For 55 years now, each chattering brother has babbled and gabbled all night to the other. They've talked about laws and they've talked about gauze. They've talked about paws and they've talked about flaws. They've talked quite a lot about old Santa Claus. And the reason I'm telling you this is because you should take up the sport. It's just fine for the jaws. Do you walk in your sleep? I just had a report of some interesting news on this popular sport. Near Finnegan Fen, there's a sleepwalking group which not only walks, but it walks on a hoop. Every night they go miles. Why, they walk to such length, they have to keep eating to keep up their strength. So every so often one puts down his hoop, stops hooping and does some quick snooping for soup. That's why they are known as the Hoop Soup Snoop Group. A Mr. and Mrs. J. Carmichael Crocs have just gone to bed near the town of Fort Knox, and they, by the way, have the finest of clocks. I'm not at all sure that I quite understand just how the thing works with that one extra hand, but I do know this clock does one very slick trick. It doesn't tick-tock, and how it goes is talk-tick. So with ticks in its talker and talks in its ticker, it saves lots of time with the sleepers, and the sleepers sleep quicker. What a fine night for sleeping. From all that I hear, it's the best night for sleeping in many a year. They're even asleep in this Wyback motel, and people don't usually sleep there too well. The beds are like rocks, and everyone knows the sheets are too short. They won't cover your toes. So, if people are actually sleeping in there, it's a great night for sleeping. It must be the air. It's a great night for snores. I just had a report of some boys who are tops in this musical sport. The snortiest snorers in all our fair land are Snorter McPhail and his Snore-a-Snort band. This band can snore Dixie and Old Swanee River so loud it would make 40 elephants shiver. The loudest of all of the boys is McPhail. He snores with his head in a 3-gallon pail. So they snore in a cave 20 miles out of town. If they snored closer in, they would snore the town down. Do you know who's asleep? Out in Funa Laguna. 2 very nice Funa Laguna baboona. We've added them into our Who's Asleep count, which has grown to a really amazing amount. Exactly 8,808 creatures are sleeping now. Isn't that great? A Jed is in bed, and the bed of a Jed is the softest of beds in the world, it is said. He makes it from pom-poms he grows on his head. See that little guy? And he's sleeping right now on the softest of fluff, completely exhausted from growing the stuff. The news has come in from the district of Doft that 2 oft are sleeping, and they're sleeping aloft. And how are they able to sleep? Off the ground? I'll tell you. I weighed one last week, and I found that an oft is so light, he weighs minus 1 pound. A moose is asleep. He is dreaming of moose drinks. A goose is asleep. He is dreaming of goose drinks. That's well and good when a moose dreams of moose juice. And nothing goes wrong when a goose dreams of goose juice. But it isn't too good when a moose and a goose start dreaming. They're drinking the other one's juice. Moose juice, not goose juice, is juice for a moose. And goose juice, not moose juice, is juice for a goose. And goose juice, not moose juice, is juice for a goose. So when goose gets a mouthful of juices of mooses, and moose gets a mouthful of juices of gooses, they always fall out of their bed screaming screams. So, I'm warning you now, never drink in your dreams. Speaking of dreaming, I think you should note that the Bumbletub Club is now dreaming afloat. Every night they go dreaming down Bumbletub Creek. Except for one night, every third or fourth week, when they stop for repairs, because their Bumbletubs leak. But tonight they're afloat, full of dreams, full of bliss, and that's why I'm bothering telling you this. At the fork of a road in the Vale of Vavode, 5-foot weary salesmen have laid down their load. All day they've raced round in the heat at top speeds, unsuccessfully trying to sell scissorzoof seeds, which nobody wants because nobody needs. Tomorrow will come. They'll go back to their chore. They'll start out on the road, zizzer-zoofing once more. But tonight they've forgotten their feet are so sore. And that's what the wonderful nighttime is for. Everywhere creatures have shut off their voices. They've all gone to bed in the beds of their choices. They're sleeping in bushes, they're sleeping in crannies, some on their stomachs and some on their fannies. They're peacefully sleeping in comfortable holes, some even on soft-tufted barber shop poles. The number of sleepers is now past the millions. The number of sleepers is now in the billions. They're sleeping on steps, and on streets and on floors, in mailboxes, ships, and the keyholes of doors. Every worm on a fishhook is safe for the night. Every fish in the sea is too sleepy to bite. Every whale in the ocean has turned off his spout. Every light between here and far Foodle is out. And now, adding things up, we are way beyond billions. Our Who's Asleep score is now up in the zillions. They're all sleeping. 99 zillion, 9 trillion and 2 creatures are sleeping. So, how about you? When you put out your light, then the number will be 99 zillion, 9 trillion, and 3. Good night.